Newsmax TV's coverage of America Votes 2016, the East Coast primaries roll on, and you see right there a decisive night for Donald Trump in America's first state. Trump is in first place, 61% compared to 20% for John Kasich and 16% for Ted Cruz. It is worth noting and worth reiterating before we went to the break, the projection that in fact Donald Trump has won the Republican primary in Delaware. So that is a sweep tonight based on the projections. We're going to get to, and you see it right there on the full screen. Before we bring in a new panel, we wanted to take advantage of the knowledge and the expertise of Sam Nunberg, the attorney and political operative at Newsmax New York, because he alluded to this earlier. He has traversed an interesting path. He was the gentleman with me when I interviewed Donald Trump. He was in the employ of Donald Trump back last summer when Mr. Trump first got in the race. He has since traversed over to Ted Cruz. You might want to tell us about that, but I have to tell you, Sam, a lot of people are intrigued by Trump, the public Trump and the private Trump. What is Donald Trump like behind closed doors, far from the roar of the grease paint and the smell of the crowd?
Donald is an extremely intelligent man. He's an extremely inquisitive man. He's an extremely detail-oriented man. And he's also a very good, I would say, hands-off manager, meaning he doesn't go into the micro details. He won't micromanage you, but he'll expect you to perform and to be innovative and to be on top of your heels all the time. And this is one of the reasons why, JD, I was so disappointed in him when he made some of these ridiculous policy statements, whether it was saying that he would be neutral in Israel and the Palestinians, whether it was saying that he would force American troops to commit war crimes, whether it was saying that he would threaten violence and riots at the convention in Ohio. I mean, that's not the Donald I know. And what I fear is that Donald is basically surrounded by a bunch of yes men. And, a lot of these people, for instance, Corey Lewandowski, who I fully admit I'm not a fan of his at all, and he forced my ouster by leaking Facebook posts. He has a saying where he says, let Donald be Donald. I looked at this, Roger Stone looks at this, Paul Manafort looks at this as help Donald be Donald. Donald needs counsel, Donald needs advice, and you can't just tell Donald what he wants to hear, because that is really the dichotomy about Donald. There's Donald's good instincts, like everyone else, and there's Donald's bad instincts. And sometimes Donald's instincts are to keep saying lying Ted. They're to keep, criticizing the chairman of the party. They're to make this public... Yes?
Here's the irony of it.
That these rules are against him.
Well, yeah, but what is interesting about it, and we appreciate the assessment and your candor about the path you have traveled. The interesting thing is that Donald Trump seems to be breaking every rule in the book, and yet it has helped him in the campaign, even against the advice of some very knowledgeable political consultants like you, Sam Nunberg. We thank you for your time. We know you will rejoin us again from Newsmax New York with our coverage tonight.